This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend.
He said it
The
right, Jim
end
Morrison.
of our...
What? Jim Morrison, lead singer of The Doors?
No, Jim Morrison, who sells wet fish down the market. Yes, of course, Jim Morrison, lead singer of The Doors.
Watch it, sunshine. Remember, I've got your report to do soon.
Sorry.
Bit of respect, please.
Oh, come on. I wouldn't have mentioned it, would I, if it wasn't somebody significant now? Now, would I?
Well, I suppose not. But did you believe him?
I did, actually. He said he was backstage at the Isle of Wight festival.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was in a band, the Dingles. They had a couple of moderate chart successes, you know, top 30.
Fascinating. Well, I think we better get on with this, don't you?
I suppose you're right.
Hello? Mr. Smith? Can you hear me?
Hello, who's that?
Hello, Fred. We've been around before a couple of times before. Do you remember us?
Oh yeah, I remember you from the other day. Hey, how come you can just appear like this? But when my family try to FaceTime me, it takes so much messing to get through.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Smith. Although we never have any problem with connections.
Technology, eh? Can't live with it, can't live without
Yes, well, nice as it is chatting to you, I'm still not exactly clear who you are.
You're right, Fred. Can we tell him?
My colleague here tells me that you were a bit of a rock star in your youth.
Don't patronise me, please. I may be on my last legs, but that doesn't mean you have to flatter me. I was in a band 50-odd years ago. It'd be stretching it to say that made me a rock star.
Sorry, Fred. No offence. I was telling her that you were backstage at the Isle of Wight festival.
I was, and it was a terrific experience. But then, I've had a lot of terrific experiences in my life.
Maybe you could tell us a bit more about your meeting with Jim Morrison. And I promise, I'm not patronising you. We are genuinely interested.
Fair enough. Well, there isn't that much to tell, really. I just got chatting to him in a rest area behind the main stage. I'd heard all about his reputation for arrogance, but he was terrific with me. He asked me all about Liverpool and the Merseybeat scene and that, you name it. That had all ended, of course, by the time we were going, but I grew up near where Ringo Starr lived, so I had a few stories to tell him.
Nice one. And a year later, he was dead.
That's right. Tragic.
Now, you were saying that you're on your last legs, Mr. Smith. I mean, do you mind if I ask you how you feel about that?
About dying, you mean?
Well, you said Jim Morrison's death was tragic, and how do you think you'll feel when it's your time to go?
Well, I won't be overjoyed, but I certainly won't think it's tragic, that's for sure.
You wouldn't?
No, of course not. Jim Morrison was 27, dying so young with so much still to experience and to accomplish. That's tragic. I'm 77. I've done a lot and I've had a lifetime's experiences. So if I were to cash in me chips right now, it could not be described as tragic. Now I come to think about it,
Yes.
well, the conversation backstage only lasted 20 minutes or so I wouldn't claim to have fully grasped all his views on life and death. But some of the things Morrison said, they were more like something someone my age now might say.
Go on, Fred.
Do you know the Doors song, The End?
We do. We know it very well, Mr. Smith.
You might say it's our signature tune.
Sorry.
Oh, ignore him, Mr. Smith. You go on with what you were saying.
Well, I asked him about that song, actually. There's been tons of stuff written about its meaning. Whether it is just about him finishing with a girlfriend or much more profound, or all the Oedipus stuff and so on. Well, he told me that it's mainly about meeting your end and embracing it, about seeing death as your friend.
And what was your response when he said that?
I was horrified. I had a fraction of his talent, his good looks, you name it. But even to a relative mediocrity like me, the thought of not being around to see what happened next in life's great soap opera just appalled me.
But just to be clear, Fred, you don't feel like that anymore?
I don't know why.
Well, you asked who we were a few minutes ago. And our job, well, it's to help people, when their time has come.
We're always there. At the end.
We're sometimes known as the Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper? That's singular. How come there's two of you?
We all have to serve an apprenticeship. And I'm training up my colleague here. I'm hoping he's going to be able to go out on his own soon. Anyway, we prefer the name Angels, as we feel that we're a bit more like nurses in a caring profession. Can I just say that it's always a relief when the people we deal with have the attitude that you're displaying, Mr. Smith. So many people rage and scream and plead, but, well, there's really nothing we can do. And after all, we are on your side, really.
I get it. Angels. You're angels of death. This is the end, my friend.
And I think it's probably time for us to go.
Yep. Come on then, Fred. Hey, why don't you give us a snatch of one of your songs while we're going?
I think it's best if we leave that to my friend Jim. Don't you?
This is the end, my only friend, the end of